Hello everyone, it's Myeongkul. Today I am going to read S6-6048 Space Explorers. Chapter 3. Hurry, I yelled. We've got to rescue Rocco. Rocco was expanding farther and farther into space. If we didn't get going fast, we'd never be able to catch up with him. As soon as everyone was aboard the space bus, Miss Frizzle fired the rockets and we took off after my little robot. Once we were out of orbit, we were no longer weightless. We could walk around on the bus again. I'm sorry I bumped into you on the moon, Carlos, Tim said. I hope we can get Rocco back. It's okay, I said. It was an accident. Keep an eye out, kids. You might see an asteroid or two, Miss Frizzle said. They are chunks of rock, space rock. Asteroids can be tiny or hundreds of miles wide. The largest asteroid in our solar system is about 600 miles across. Most asteroids stay in orbit between Mars and Jupiter in what we call the asteroid belt. Some asteroids crash together and bounce off to roam around in other parts of the solar system. Oh, hey, Miss Frizzle, what's that bright star ahead? Phoebe asked. It's not a star, Phoebe, the freeze told her. That's the planet, Venus. Venus is the third brightest object we can see from Earth after the sun and the moon. The planet is not a star. Star is a hot, glowing ball of gas that gives off heat and light. Planet is a body that revolves around the star. It gives up no light of its own. The light we see is reflected sunlight. DA had done her report on Venus. She told us that Venus is so bright because the layers of thick clouds surrounding it reflect a lot of light from the sun. Soon we could see the swirling clouds of Venus, and it looked as if Rocco was heading straight into them. Rocco will be a gunner if he hits those clouds. They're made of sulfuric acid that would burn right through his metal skin. Venus, killer planet. Venus is about the same size as Earth and is closer to us than any other planet. Venus is deadly hot all the time, and its surface is nothing but rocky plains and dead volcanoes. No person has ever been on Venus. The carbon dioxide in its atmosphere is poisonous to Earthlings, but a few space probes have landed on its hot, windy surface. In 1982, Russian space probe called Venera 13 landed on Venus and sent back the first cloud of photos of the planet's surface. Space probe lasted for only 2 hours before the heat destroyed its instruments and radio transmitters. Suddenly I remembered Rocco's remote control. It was in my pocket. Maybe I could use it to steer him away from those deadly clouds. I had to act fast before the planet's gravity pulled him in. I pushed the reverse button. Right on. Rocco spun around and headed back toward the space bus. You did it, Carlos, Tim yelled. Now we just have to figure out how to get him inside once he gets close enough. But before we could even think about that, something terrible happened. A small asteroid came hurtling along. It hit Rocco and sent him spinning off again. Follow that robot, please, I called to Miss Frizzle. The space bus zoomed off, leaving Venus in our dust. Rocco was going so fast, soon he was just out in space. Hey, Carlos, can you use Rocco's radio signal to follow him? Ralphie asked. We can try, I said. I pushed the voice button. We heard a faint sound, eep, eep, eep. I've located Rocco on the radar screen, Miss Frizzle said. She set a new course and fired the control thrusters. We caught up with Rocco as he was approaching Mercury, the planet nearest the sun. We had to put on special goggles to block the sun's rays. We could feel the heat beating down on us. Miss Frizzle pulled the lever that set up special heat shields around the bus. Mercury must be one hot planet, I said. The side that faces the sun is super hot, Keisha said. She was the expert on Mercury, but the other side is super cold. No other planet has such extremes of temperature. Speedy hotshot. Mercury is like a fire and ice. During the day, temperature rises to a scorching 700 degrees Fahrenheit. At night, it drops to minus 274 Fahrenheit. Mercury is covered with craters like a moon. It zips around the sun very quickly. but rotates very slowly. A day on Mercury is only slightly shorter than a year. Yip, Rocco's radio signal was getting fainter. On the radar screen, we could see the Rocco was about to fly past Mercury. He was headed straight for the sun. Rocco's close to the sun. He's one hot dog. Chapter 4. Yip. Rocco's beep sounded like a call for help. I tried the reverse button on the remote again, but Rocco was out of range. All we could do was watch him on the radar screen, getting nearer and nearer to the fiery sun. Look, DA says something weird is happening. Rocco has changed direction. Now he is heading for Mercury. Great, I said. He'll be smashed to smithereens instead of burned to a crisp. No, Sophie, Rocco isn't going down. He's going into orbit around the planet. Sure enough, the dot on the radar screen was circling around Mercury. He has become a satellite. Keisha said he keeps circling around Mercury just like the moon orbits Earth. That's lucky for us. Now we have a chance to rescue him. How? We can't just fly up and grab him. Miss Frizzle got that twinkle in her eyes. Well, Laffy, you'll be surprised to know that's just what Carlos and I plan to do. Huh? I said, you bet. You've seen pictures of astronauts repairing satellites out in space, right? Just like them, we'll be running tether wires will be attached to the magic space bus so we can float off, but we'll burn up in the sun's heat. I protested. No, not so, Carlos. She reached into a compartment and pulled out two shiny gold-coated umbrella. I happen to have here the very latest in parasol technology. These parasols are made of special material that reflects heat and light. They will protect us from the sun's rays. First, we had to get closer to Rocco. Miss Frizzle pushed the button on the instrument panel, and we zoomed off toward Mercury. How to fly a spaceship. Secret to space travel is controlled thrusters. They are small rockets in the front and back of the spacecraft used to steer the spacecraft. They are mounted so that they can fire in all directions, up and down, left and right. When you fire a rocket on the left, the spaceship will turn right. The magic space bus was now right between the sun and the planet. The sun looked twice as large as it does from Earth. Our goggles protected our eyes from its strong light. Our sun is an enormous glowing ball of very hot hydrogen gas. Super hot gas halo called the corona fans out millions of miles into space. The sun is so huge that 1 million Earths could fit inside it. Miss Frizzle and I got into a space suit and entered the airlock, a small room with a hatch overhead. When the airlock was closed, we put on our helmets and turned on the oxygen. Next, we let out all the air in the room. Then Miss Frizzle checked the tether wires. All set. Open the hatch. Carlos, we are ready to go. What if my tether broke? I would be floating in space forever, but I had to save Rocco. I floated out behind Miss Frizzle. The light was almost blinding. We opened our parasols and quickly strapped them to our backs. Now we could see better and move around above the bus. I caught sight of a dark object floating near my head. Rocco, I reached up, but it was no good. It was too far away. Let out more of your tether, Carlos, the Freeze said over the radio. You have nearly got him. I didn't want to get too far from the bus. I let out the line, but the movement started me tumbling around. I went over and over in a wild somersault. Space swirled around me. Whoa there, Miss Frizzle said. She caught hold of my feet and stopped the spinning. Phew, I said. Thanks, Miss Frizzle. I was getting dizzy. Hello. Now Rocco was just a few feet away. With Miss Frizzle still holding on to my feet, I stretched forward. My fingers wrapped around Rocco's tail, and I pulled him to me. Got him. Everyone on the bus cheered when they saw Rocco was back safely, especially Tim. Now, class, Miss Frizzle said, it's time to beat the heat and get out of here. The sun is hot stuff. How hot is the sun? It's almost 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, but the inner core is much, much hotter. 27 million degrees Fahrenheit, just one spark that hot could set fire to everything within 60 miles. Even with all that power, the sun is just an average star. Some stars are even bigger and hotter. The end.